Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we have Sports News episode 81. So, we're going to be covering all of the latest news around the four major sports. Starting off in the NBA, the Hornets signed guard Isaiah Thomas to a deal for the rest of the season after signing him to the maximum of two 10-day contracts. So, a team can only send players to two 10-day contracts before they either have to let them become a free agent again or sign them to a deal for the rest of the season. And that's what the Hornets opted to do here. Magic, Jonathan Isaac, and former number 6 overall pick, also Jonathan Isaac, is out for the rest of the season, as he had a hamstring injury. We already know he's out for the rest of the season, as he's recovering from a torn ACL. However, during his rehab, he suffered a hamstring injury. Nets' Joe Harris is expected to undergo a second ankle surgery. However, he's still expected to be ready for training camp before next season. Kings' Domantas Sabonis is out 10-plus days with a knee injury. Trailblazers star Damian Lillard is out for the remainder of the season as he continues to recover from abdominal surgery. Jamal Crawford retires after 20 seasons. And the Pacers have announced TJ Warren is out for the rest of the season after having a variety of injuries. On to the NHL. The trade deadline was yesterday at 3 p.m., so we'll be getting to that in a second. Just, we're not going to go through all of the trades, just a few notable ones, because I believe I read there was somewhere in the 30s, there was over 30 trades made for the deadline. But Kings' Drew Downey could be out the remainder of the season with a upper body injury. So now on to the trade deadline. The Flyers traded Claude Giroux to the Panthers for so the Flyers traded Claude Giroux, two other players, and a 5th-round pick in 2024 for Owen Tippett, a 2023 3rd-round pick, and a 1st-round pick in either 2023 or 2024. The Maple Leafs made a trade with the new expansion team, the Seattle Kraken. The Maple Leafs got Mark Giordano and Colin Blackwell, while the Kraken got 3 picks, a 2nd-round pick this year, a 2nd next year, and a 3rd in 2024. And perhaps the biggest trade of the deadline, the Wild have traded for goalie Marc-Andre Fleury, and the Blackhawks in exchange got a conditional 1st-round pick. So I think that's a big move by the Wild to get one of the best goalies in the league. He's getting older, however, he's still really good. He was the league's top goalie a year ago. And I think it's a good move by the Wild to get one of the best goalies in the game. And just, there was tons of other trades, however, we're not going to go through all of them, as I mentioned before. And an interesting fact about the Seattle Kraken. They have more draft picks over the next 3 years than they have players on their current roster. So they have 33 draft picks over the next 3 seasons. So they're definitely looking like they're definitely going to have a young team in the future. On to the MLB. The Red Sox signed shortstop Trevor Story to a 6-year, $140 million contract. That now pairs him with all-star shortstop Xander Bogaerts. So now the Red Sox have an outstanding middle infield, and they will most likely move Trevor Story to shortstop. More free agent news. The Twins signed shortstop Carlos Correa to a 3-year, $105 million contract, making him the highest-paid middle infielder. Freddie Freeman signed a 6-year, $162 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So now, the Dodgers, they're just loaded from top to bottom. And really, with the lineup they have, and with their roster, although they did let closer Kenley Jansen walk to the Braves, really a World Series, anything short of a World Series, is a disappointment for this roster. The Marlins signed World Series MVP Jorge Soler to a 3-year, $36 million contract. The Blue Jays traded for Matt Chapman, and he agreed to a 2-year contract worth $25 million. And there's a pair of rule changes we're going to be going over. So the MLB announced that the ghost runner, or when a runner is on second base to start extra innings, will unfortunately return for this season. I did not like it. If they want to do that to try to speed up the game, 1, I don't think they should try to speed up extra innings. And 2, if they want to, start it after the 12th or 13th, not once you get to the 10th. And the MLB also made a Shohei Ohtani rule. So with universal DH now, well, universal throughout the whole league, if the pitcher is the DH, so say Ohtani is the DH for the Angels, but he's also starting. He throws 5 innings, but then he'd be taken out of the game. But now he can still remain in the game as the DH. So now it allows a pitcher to remain in the game as a DH if they were the original DH after they're removed from the game as a pitcher. And that is for the entire length of the new CBA deal. It is not just for this season, while the Ghost Runner rule is only for this season. That's all for the MLB. On to the NFL. Good chunk of news there. Starting with the Colts, they traded a 3rd-round pick to the Falcons and received quarterback Matt Ryan. So my thoughts on that, the Falcons, I think they should have tried to get a little bit more than the 3rd. He is getting a lot older. He's going to be 37. It seems like another Phillip Rivers type move for the Colts. Getting an older quarterback who maybe has a few years left at most. As we all know, Rivers only played 1 year in Indy. The Dolphins signed my top free agent this year, Teron Armstead, to a 5-year, $87.5 million contract. So he was my top free agent, and now the Dolphins have made quite a few moves. They signed Cedric Wilson, Armstead. They signed another offensive lineman. I forget who it was, though. They signed Raheem Mostert. They signed Chase Edmonds. 2 running backs, which kind of confuses me. However, the Dolphins have made a lot of moves, so I'm looking for them to make a big leap and potentially be in a playoff spot next season. Zadarius Smith agreed to a 3-year contract with the Vikings after being released by the Packers. Free agent wide receiver DeMarcus Robinson signed a contract with the Raiders. Something else with the Raiders, the Packers traded wide receiver Devontae Adams to the Raiders. And Adams now reunites with his former college teammate at Fresno State, Derek Carr. Deshaun Watson was traded to the Browns. The Texans received 3 first-round picks and other picks for Watson. I think it was a great move by both sides. The Browns are getting a great quarterback, and then the Texans, they're getting a lot back for a quarterback or a player who they knew was never going to play there in Houston again. The Buccaneers re-signed Leonard Fournette on a 3-year, $21 million contract. The Packers re-signed tight end Robert Tonyan. The Cowboys re-signed safety Deron Kearse to a 2-year, $10 million contract. The Saints re-signed quarterback Jameis Winston after missing out on the Deshaun Watson opportunity, and he agreed to a 2-year, $28 million contract. The Falcons signed Marcus Mariota after the Matt Ryan trade, and the contract is worth 2 years for $18.75 million. The Titans traded wide receiver Robert Woods, and they only gave a 6th-round pick for the Rams. I think Robert Woods is worth a lot more than that. Yes, the Rams did have a lot of receivers. They have Cooper Kupp. They just signed Allen Robinson. They may get OBJ back, depending on what he decides to do in free agency. But Robert Woods is worth a lot more than a 6th-round pick. Amari Cooper went to the Browns for either a 5th or a 6th-round pick. And I'm not sure if you guys also feel this way, but I think Robert Woods is a little bit better than Amari Cooper. So I think the Titans severely underpaid for Robert Woods right there. Matthew Stafford signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension with the Rams. And the last thing, Michigan edge rusher David Ojabo unfortunately tore his Achilles at Pro Day. So now that is an extremely tough injury for anybody to come back from. So now it's going to be interesting to see how far he falls after his injury. Like, subscribe. So that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. I posted a video earlier today on how the U.S. men's national team can qualify for the World Cup in their upcoming World Cup qualifiers. I do my best to post as often as I can. Like, subscribe, comment if you agree, disagree with anything I said and why. And I will see you in the next video.